Hello, oil country. Welcome to Game Over Edmonton, where the Oilers just completed a 4-0 shellacking of the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I just want to say the Oilers are now 3-0 when the team is involved in a fight or when they receive a fighting major during a game. However, in this situation, unlike the previous two wins, this game was completely out of reach by the time Darnell Nurse actually threw the fists coming into the defense of Victor Arvidsson, who was taken hard into the boards by Pettersson of the Penguins late in the third period. My name is Austin. Welcome to Game Over Edmonton, part of the Game Over Network. Game Over has markets in every Canadian city. So if you want to check out all of the amazing creators in every Canadian market, make sure that you are following and subscribe to all the Game Over channels across the country. We are doing something special here, and I'm excited to talk about the Oilers' 4-0 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Obviously, we are feeling very, very good about the win tonight. Much better than if the team had lost in regulation. The Oilers improved to 3-4-1 on the season. And the big thing we're going to talk about, of course, is, you have Stuart Skinner getting a shutout, Victor Arvidsson with 3 points, Darnell Nurse, another fighting major. That's the second of the season. The team looks like they're starting to pull it together. They're also 3-1-1 in their last 5 games, and that is huge. When we talk about this team, yes, 3-4-1. In a vacuum, that's not a great record. However, they have won 3 of their last 5 games, and they do have points in 4 of the last 5. I think this team is definitely starting to turn it around. This was by far the best game of the season for the Edmonton Oilers in terms of possession, expected goals for, everything that you want out of this team, that we expect out of this team on any given night. Great game from the Oilers. However, there was one main turning point. One specific turning point that really changed the whole complexion of this game. The Oilers were up 1-0. Evan Bouchard scored after the Oilers were just dominating the Pittsburgh Penguins in the offensive zone. They were cycling. They were getting chances. They had about 2 minutes of sustained pressure. Bouchard scores to make it 2-0. But hold on. Wait a second. They're challenging for offside. Now, all the replays that I've seen from that offside challenge, I don't blame Mike Sullivan of the Pittsburgh Penguins, the head coach of the Penguins. I don't blame him at all for challenging for offside because it really did look like it was offside. I was losing it on my live stream over on Austin Hockey. I was just losing my mind. I was like, okay, that's definitely offside. This goal's coming back. And I was thinking to myself internally, I was like, if this goal comes back, the Oilers at that point in the game were completely dominating. The shots were something like 34-11. Pittsburgh wasn't able to sustain any kind of zone time. And I was thinking to myself, if this does get called back, and I thought it was going to be, how would the Oilers respond? What would the Oilers' response be if the goal got called back? Would they crumble? Would Pittsburgh find a way to start pushing the play a little bit? Luckily for Edmonton, somehow, some way, after all these goals have been called back all season long for goal interference and offsides, for some reason, that one counted. Not quite sure why or how. I have yet to see a definitive angle. If any of you have a definitive angle of that offside or non-offside goal, please share it with me. Please, I need to see it because that was the turning point of the game. The Oilers then stay up 2-0. They get a power play out of it because when you fail a coach's challenge, you do get a power play. The team that fails the challenge, they have to go on the kill for delay of game. And the Oilers, their power play didn't look great. That first unit did not look good. Luckily, the second unit converted in the third period. But the big turning point was definitely that second goal for Edmonton by Evan Bouchard counting. And that's a great sign for Oilers fans. It's weird being on the other end of a call where you think it's going to go against you, but it ends up going in your favor. So that was nice to see. And Erica says victory chain is back. That is right. We have the victory chain on tonight. I only ever wear this when the Oilers win. They've only been able to win 3 games in their first 8. And I do get to wear this tonight. So I'm very excited about that. Adam, it says we are feeling good. Play La Bamba, baby. Absolutely. Slain Rain says huge. And then Vinny says the reason why it was onside was the back of Pod's heel wasn't definitively on or offside, thus the call on the ice has to stand. And that is a good point. One of the big changes to the offside rule is if a player's skate is above. Now, before you used to have to keep your skate on the ice and also not cross the plane of the blue line. However, they changed that. Your skate, you can have that 3 feet in the air if you want to. If your skate is still behind the plane as the puck crosses, it is onside. Now, Podkolzin's foot was in the air. Again, Vinny, I'm assuming Vinny has seen an angle that I haven't seen. It was close. It was close. A couple of the angles that we saw, it definitely looked like Podkolzin's skate had crossed the plane of the blue line. It definitely looked like it was going to be called offsides. I thought that was for sure going against Edmonton. And maybe just as an Oilers fan, we're just used to calls going against our team. It's not often we are it's not often we're the beneficiary of a coach's challenge. Luckily tonight, it did go in Edmonton's favor, and it really did turn the tide of the game. The Oilers never looked back. They were never really, there was no concerns with Edmonton's game. And I will say Stuart Skinner tonight in net for Edmonton played phenomenal. He wasn't busy, but when he had to make the saves, he made the saves. This is what we're asking from Stuart Skinner as Oilers fans. We're not asking for him to play like Dominik Hasek every night. All we're asking for is, 1, give us a chance to win, and 2, make the saves you should make, and 3, sometimes here and there, make a save that maybe you don't deserve to make. And he's been doing that. It started last game against Carolina Hurricanes, and now tonight against Pittsburgh, he shut them down. And if you're an Oilers fan, we got to be feeling pretty good about Stuart Skinner's game. We got to be feeling good about maybe Stuart Skinner getting hot. Skinner has been known to be very hot and very cold. If he starts to turn his game around, the team obviously in front of him tonight played amazing. They're going to turn their game around as well. If we take a quick look at some of the stats here, I just got it on my other monitor. Viktor Arvidsson, he finally got his first point of the season as an Edmonton Oiler, and he had 3 points. He had 3 assists, and he was the Energizer Bunny tonight for Edmonton. Every time he was on the ice, every single shift for Viktor Arvidsson, he was noticeable in a positive way. I thought he played a phenomenal game. Vinny asked, how do you think Arvidsson played? I think this was Arvidsson's best game as an Oiler, and I think for the Edmonton Oilers, this was their best game as a team this season. By far, their best game as a team this season. They outshot the Penguins 50-27. And according to Natural Stat Trick, the shot attempts in all situations were 89-55 in favor of the Oilers. Expected goals in all situations, 5.35 to 2.64 in favor of Edmonton. And the high danger chances, the Oilers had 25 high danger chances. That has got to be a high for any NHL team this season. I will have to take a look at the actual stats this year on Natural Stat Trick, but that is an unbelievable number. 25 high danger chances. Are you kidding me? I think the Penguins are lucky to escape down only 4-0 after the game. And you got to give Blomqvist a ton of credit off the Penguins. Let me just, I forgot his first name here. Give me 1 second. I apologize. Here we go. Joel Blomqvist, or Joel Blomqvist. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. My apologies, Penguins fans, if you're watching. He played out of his mind. Absolutely out of his mind. He was otherworldly, and the Pittsburgh Penguins in front of him did not do him any favors tonight. As an Oilers fan, I'm happy that they were on the other side of this game, and I'm happy that they broke through and were able to score more than 1 or 2 goals. I was concerned that it was going to be one of those games where Edmonton only scores 1, Pittsburgh becomes opportunistic, but that wasn't the case. So we're going to move into period 2. As these Game Over episodes progress, they are divided into 3 periods, and then what we call overtime. Overtime is where I usually leave it up to the fans watching at home to give their thoughts, ask their questions. So if there's anything you want to talk about, any questions you have, make sure you let us know in the comment section below, and make sure you hit that like button on the stream. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe. This is all about you. The Game Over Network is about the fans. This is not about me in front of the camera. This is not about the Edmonton Oilers. This is for you currently watching at home, whether you're on your phone, your computer, even if you don't live in Canada, wherever you are. These streams are for you. We are trying to do something amazing here at the Game Over Network, and we truly appreciate your support. It goes a long way. It means the world. Hitting that like button goes a long way. Subscribing to the channel goes a long way, and sharing with your friends and family also goes a long way in supporting us so that we can continue to provide the content that you want to see and engage with the fans, because at the end of the day, I don't get to do what I'm doing without you watching. So thank you for tuning in. I just wanted to get that out of the way before I continue talking about the game. Slain Rain says Stu was amazing. This is 2 in a row now. He had a great game against the Hurricanes. Yes, he did. Absolutely, he did. That is a great point. Stuart Skinner, he played great against the Hurricanes. Definitely didn't deserve the loss in that game. Oilers lost in overtime. At least they got a point, though. But tonight against the Pittsburgh Penguins, he looked dialed in. And for a goaltender, sometimes we talk about goaltenders. They need to see a lot of pucks. They need to see a lot of rubber. They need to get into a game early. The Oilers were just so dominant in this game. You almost worry that your goaltender is going to be a little rusty. If they don't see a lot of shots, sometimes that's a negative. A lot of goaltenders, they're not, they're a little bit cold. But he had to make some big saves tonight. There was a short-handed 2-on-1. He made a massive save. He came across the ice with his pad. There was a play in the third period where Leon Draisaitl threw a pizza up the middle. Erik Karlsson all by himself, 5 feet from the top of the crease. Stuart Skinner comes out strong, makes the big right pad save. Stuart Skinner, absolutely, probably my second star of the game. I would give the first star to Victor Arvidsson, and my third star, who would my third star be, actually? Maybe Podkolzin. I think Podkolzin had a really underrated game tonight. Siren Bees says, imagine if Hyman was connecting with the puck. Man, Zach Hyman, is he... Okay, maybe period 2. This is where we're going to talk about Zach Hyman. Maybe he just needs a bit of an exorcism. It is almost Halloween. Let's create a little bit of an exorcism for Zach Hyman. Whatever you can sacrifice at home, whether it's just stuffed animal or don't actually sacrifice anything, please. I don't condone the sacrifice of anything living. Please, if you're going to do this, let's have some fun. However, light a candle, do whatever kind of ritual you need to do. We need Zach Hyman to get back on track. We need Zach Hyman to get a goal here. He was all over it tonight. He had a breakaway late in the third, and they were trying to find him. The Oilers, with 2 minutes left in the third period, after they killed off a late penalty, they had Draisaitl and McDavid out there with a 4-0 lead, by the way, with Zach Hyman, because they're trying to find him. They're trying to get him off the schneid. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins scored his first goal of the season. Zach Hyman still looking for his first point of the season, and he got a breakaway late. He went to the backhand. I think Zach Hyman's just got to stick to his forehand and shoot the puck. Seems like every time he gets a breakaway or partial breakaway, he goes to that backhand. Let's just rifle that thing. Pick a corner and just rifle it. But Zach Hyman had a great game. He will break through eventually. CS Man says, do you think Draisaitl could win the Rocket? I think it would be unlikely that Draisaitl wins the Rocket Richard Trophy this season unless he goes on an absolute tear. Not saying that Draisaitl can't do it, not trying to discredit Draisaitl's play. It was nice to see him score tonight. Nice snipe, got the Oilers on the board. He was the first goal of the game. In terms of the Rocket, probably unlikely unless he goes on an absolute heater, which could happen. Draisaitl does tend to score in bunches. So, never say never, I suppose. Vinny asked, how do I think Draisaitl played? I think that was Draisaitl's best game of the season. Other than that really bad pass to, I don't know who he was trying to pass to in the third period. He put it up the middle and Erik Karlsson stole it, got a shot off on the breakaway there. But in general, I thought this was Draisaitl's best game. I thought Podkolzin looked really, really good on that second line with Victor Arvidsson. You got to keep that second line together. You have to keep Podkolzin, Draisaitl, and Arvidsson together. And maybe, just maybe, and I know Nugent-Hopkins scored tonight, maybe bumping him down to the third line, maybe giving Jeff Skinner a look in that top 6 as well. Wouldn't hurt either. You don't want to mess with a winning formula. The team has won 3 of the last 5. They look like they're starting to turn a corner here. As Jack Michaels would say, the worm or something. He always mentions a worm starting to turn. I don't know. Jack Michaels, if you're watching, you know what you say. TVT says, I sacrificed my goldfish. No, I am not. I, and along with the Game Over Network, are not responsible for the actual sacrifice of your goldfish. I just want to put that out there into the world. I am not responsible for that. JP says Arvidsson was on fire tonight. Hopefully that board shot wasn't too bad. I think Arvidsson's going to be A-okay. I think I saw him out late in the third. I think he just kind of jammed his wrist, maybe his fingers a little bit. He did go in awkwardly into the boards and he protected his face with his hands. I think he'll be just fine though. Do you think the Oilers deserve the win? Absolutely, asked Fireball Gaming. I do think Edmonton for sure deserved the win. I think the game shouldn't have even been close. This should have been a 9 or 10-0 win for Edmonton. And again, I'm not trying to disrespect the Pittsburgh Penguins, but Blomqvist is the only reason why the Oilers did not completely blow out the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight at Rogers Place. Pegas says, how does Pod stack up to Holloway? I think Podkolzin can be just as effective offensively when given the opportunity. He was given a strong opportunity tonight. He did have an assist, and he looked really, really good. I was very happy with Podkolzin's game. Hopefully he can build off that. I think he played a season-high 14 minutes tonight. So for Vasily Podkolzin, he's also someone that needs a little bit of confidence too. So getting to play with Draisaitl, who, again, also had a great game. Podkolzin and Draisaitl playing together, great game. I really liked how they looked. Let's see if they can build some chemistry, because Draisaitl and Arvidsson have had chemistry all season. They've had some looks together, and until tonight, the puck wasn't going in. Tonight, the puck did go in. Draisaitl got a goal. Arvidsson had 3 assists, including a power play assist in the third period on the second unit. He won the faceoff back to Ekholm, who scored. Nice screen by Corey Perry, by the way. JP says, I'd rather have Holloway over Pods. Holloway's had a good start to the season in St. Louis. I'm going to try and focus on the Oilers team right now rather than what's going on in St. Louis. Yes, Holloway has had a good start to the season with the Blues, and I do miss his speed. I do miss his tenacity, but I think Podkolzin can be someone once he gets going a little bit here, and if the coaching staff can start to trust him, I like the potential Podkolzin to potentially be a 30, 40 point player in that top 9 for Edmonton. JP says he looks like he's worth the offer sheet. That's referring to Holloway. Absolutely. I think Holloway was definitely worth the 2 or 2.5 million that he signed for. TVT says, do you think Calgary will place higher than the Oilers by the end of November? That is an interesting question. I'd have to take a full breakdown of the advanced analytics. I'd have to see where both teams are at the end of October. Let's see where both teams are at the end of October before I try and answer that one. Fireball Gaming says, Draisaitl's goal was nasty. Yes, it was. Leon Draisaitl, he got the Oilers on the board. Some of the chances that Edmonton had, by the way, before Draisaitl, kind of broke the dam, was unbelievable. I was freaking out during the game. I could not believe the chances Edmonton was having, and the puck wasn't going in. It was nice to see Draisaitl. Great snipe. Initially, when the goal went in, his goal, I laughed a little bit because I didn't think it was a great shot. However, they showed one angle, and where he placed that puck from where he was on the ice, absolute snipe. It is immaculate. Mwah. Beautiful goal from Leon Draisaitl. So that's my thoughts overall on the second line. And I do want to talk about the third line a little bit here. Before we head into the third period of Game Over, I do just want to remind everyone that this is all about you, the viewer, and the Game Over Network. They have content from every single market, and they also host over on the Game Over official YouTube channel, the Game Over Network official YouTube channel. They have multiple shows, including a show, Hyperdrive Hockey, which is incredible. If you want your hockey news to come from media that isn't your usual suspects out there, make sure to subscribe to Game Over NHL, the Game Over Network official YouTube, and of course all 7 Canadian markets. I almost said all 6. I grew up in an age where there was 6 Canadian teams until 2011, and then Winnipeg came back. So my apologies to Winnipeg. I didn't forget about you. Winnipeg is undefeated, by the way. So if you want to see more content from not just me, but other Game Over Network creators, make sure you are following and subscribe to every Canadian market for Game Over. It's been a interesting start to the season. We'll move on into period 3 here. And we're going to talk a little bit about the first line for the Oilers, because we know that line is due to absolutely explode. I think that top line for Edmonton is a complete powder keg. Like, once Hyman gets going, and we've seen Nugent Hopkins now, he scored his first of the season. Once Hyman gets his first goal of the year, you watch that top line. You watch McDavid, Hyman, and Nugent Hopkins. I feel bad for teams that are going to be going up against that line when they break through, because when they do, oh boy, it is going to be nasty, and it is not going to be fun if you're an opponent of the Edmonton Oilers here. TVT says, does your approach to live streams, depending on how many views, is it the same stream regardless of 100 views versus 10,000? Absolutely. Listen, the way I approach a live stream, I don't even look at the viewer count. I don't pay attention to any of that stuff. What I'm focused on is to the people who are watching, whether that's one person, whether it's 10, whether it's 1,000. I'm just focused on the creating content that is engaging, meaningful, and discussing all things hockey. I love the game. I try and bring my passion for the game, and I try and engage everyone who is watching. It doesn't matter how many people watch, whether it's 10,000 or one individual. My approach to live streaming is always the same. It is all about the viewer. It is all about positivity. It's about love and support for everyone. It's about fighting like a kid and fighting like Ben. This is something I preach every single day. I wear this bracelet from the Ben Stelter Foundation every single day. Ben Stelter, of course, was a huge inspiration in oil country. We all greatly miss him. And that's someone that, I take a lot of inspiration from myself as well. There are so many things in the world, so many negative aspects. And we've seen it not just in oil country, but in the hockey. Hockey culture can be fairly negative sometimes, whether that's piling on certain players, running players out of town, the old school mentality that some people have. I just try and bring a positive, uplifting environment, a welcoming environment to everyone. It is something that I think goes a long way, and hopefully it is something that everyone also engages with and enjoys. Fireball Gaming says the third period was the best. It absolutely was. It was nice to see the Oilers, even though they had a 2-goal lead. Just like the game against the Carolina Hurricanes, the Oilers had a 2-goal lead heading to the third against Carolina. They could not hold on to it. Tonight against Pittsburgh, they did hold on to it. Now, they did need Stuart Skinner to make some good saves. However, I felt the Oilers' attention to detail was a lot stronger than in that game against Carolina. That game against Carolina was outrageous. Like, I talked a little bit about it on my own channel, but neither team, Carolina or Edmonton, were focused on playing defense that night. It was just about trying to get a goal. Tonight, a little bit of a different story. The Oilers, they had the lead and they continued to press to build that lead, but they weren't outright not committing to defense. I thought their play in the neutral zone was strong. They were breaking up passes. They were breaking up loose pucks. They were strong along the boards. They were the first players back in the defensive zone whenever Pittsburgh tried to dump it. If Pittsburgh tried to skate through the neutral zone, Edmonton was really good at getting their sticks on the puck. It was really good to see. It's really encouraging as an Oilers fan right now. If Edmonton plays like they did against Pittsburgh tonight, every single night, they have a chance to win every single game. Higa says, I think Nurse starts living up to his contract. I think Nurse has had a pretty decent start to the season. I think there's only been a couple games where Nurse hasn't looked great, and those are the games that he's been paired with Travis Dermott. As long as Darnell Nurse continues to, 1, play with Troy Stetcher, 2, continues to play to his strengths. And the strengths of Darnell Nurse this season, and just in general, are his speed. He's a great skater, and his physicality and his meanness. He is mean. He used to, early in Darnell Nurse's career, he was punishing in front of the Oilers' net. He would cross-check guys. He would slash. He would hack and whack. He would fight. And for a while, the last couple of years, we haven't seen a lot of that. However, this season, that seems to be coming back. He seems more engaged. Even earlier in the year when the Oilers were looking really bad against Winnipeg and Chicago, Darnell Nurse has been engaged, and when he's engaged, he is very, very effective. It looks like there's some new life in his game, and he's had a couple fights now, and I'm not saying he has to fight every single night. Fighting is something that you shouldn't have to do to spark your team or spark yourself. However, if this is something that he feels is helping not only his game, but helping the team, I am here for it. I am all here for it. I have been very hard on Darnell Nurse over the last couple of seasons. So if he's able to really build on his game, turn things around, and find a way to contribute, whether that's through a fight, a hit, whatever the case may be, that's good news for Oilers fans. Thoughts on the crowd booing after Arvidsson got up? I thought they were supposed to clap since he was happy. I think the fans were booing the fact that Pettersson initially did not drop the gloves. When Arvidsson went down hard into the boards, he was laying there. Draisaitl came to his defense, and then Darnell Nurse came in as well, but nobody dropped the gloves. So I think the crowd reaction was negative towards the fact that there was no actual response. However, the next face-off, obviously Darnell Nurse challenged Pettersson. Pettersson decided to, answer the bell. They went at it. Good fight. I give the win to Darnell Nurse. And also, if you're a Penguins fan, I will say I give a lot of credit to Pettersson. He probably didn't have to fight there. I think the result looked worse than what actually happened to Arvidsson, but credit to Pettersson. He did step up to the plate. Him and Darnell Nurse fought, and it was spirited, and it was nice to see. Firewall Gaming says that was an unexpected win. I thought the Penguins would win at the start. Yeah, I mean, anyone can beat anyone, obviously, in the NHL. You can't take a night off. For the Pittsburgh Penguins, though, obviously, there's a lot going on with that team. There's been a lot of rumors swirling about Mike Sullivan's future as head coach. But for me as an Oilers fan, I'm focusing on the Oilers, how they performed against the Penguins. You still have to come up. You still have to start on time. And for the Oilers, right from puck drop, they dominated. They were all over the Pittsburgh Penguins, and it wasn't particularly close, if I'm going to be honest. The score was close until the third period, but in terms of how the game was played, the ebbs and flows, Edmonton completely controlled the game. And like I said, if the Oilers are able to continue to play like that, the rest of, obviously they're going to have their off nights, but if they can play like this more often than not, they are going to win much more often than they will lose. So that is good to see. Now, let's move into overtime. This is all about the viewer. This is all for you. If you have any pressing questions, any comments, anything you want me to address, anything that I haven't talked about from the game, is there anything from the game that I might have missed that you want me to discuss? Whether that's, a specific player's performance, whether it's about a defenseman, goaltender, a forward, my thoughts on the team finally being able to score more than 2 goals in a game. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments. Right now, we are in overtime, and then we will wrap things up. I just want to say once again, I thank everyone who is tuning in right now for tuning in. Your support means the world, and it's been an absolute pleasure, by the way. I am so lucky to be part of not only the Game Over Network, but what I do over on my own new channel as well. The support across oil country and across Canada and across the world, honestly, has been, the response has been amazing. Piga says the Hyman Black magic curse. Yes, Zach Hyman, I fully believe he is cursed right now. Like, legitimately believe he is cursed. Like I said, let's try and, whatever we have to do to get him back on track, as long as it doesn't harm anything actually living. Let's get him back on track here. Like I said, though, when he scores, the floodgates are going to open. And he is going to, the snowball effect is going to be positive for Edmonton. He is going to start scoring in bunches very, very soon. Vinny asks, how was Jeff Skinner? Jeff Skinner played a great game. I really liked Jeff Skinner's game tonight. I haven't had a look at the advanced metrics, but the eye test to me at least show that he played well. It showed in general that the Oilers just played incredible hockey tonight. They had so many opportunities. I am going to take a look at the advanced stats though, just for fun for the Oilers. Give me 1 second. All right, so the top performing players tonight for Edmonton expected goals for-wise. Now, Jeff Skinner, it said Jeff Skinner's expected goals for was 42% in all situations. I don't buy it. I'm going with the eye test tonight. Personally, I thought he played a really good game. He had some looks. TVT says, do you think McDavid is shooting enough, and should he focus his game as primary goal scorer like 2 years ago or an assist man like last year? I think McDavid... Now, we always yell at him to shoot more because he can put the puck in the net. Last year, I think Connor McDavid was dealing with things. I don't think he was 100% for a lot of the season. But when it comes to whether he should shoot or pass, I think Connor McDavid, I don't think he's overthinking any of that. I think he's just looking for what he believes is the right play in that moment. Whether it's a shot for himself, whether it's trying to find a teammate to get their first of the season. He did try and find Hyman a lot in the third period, which makes sense. The team was up big. You're trying to get another guy off the board or on the board. So he's being a really good teammate. Obviously, he has shown that he can score in bunches. He scored over 60 goals 2 years ago. Would I like to see him shoot the puck more? Absolutely. But for Connor McDavid, I trust that he knows what he's doing in these situations. I trust that he understands if he should shoot or pass. To us, it's a lot easier on television seeing whether he should shoot or pass a puck. And when he makes a pass and a player doesn't score, obviously we're going to sit there and be like, why didn't you shoot? And then when he shoots and doesn't score, we're like, oh, why didn't you pass? You can't win as a player. You can't win as a fan analyzing that. Fireball Gaming says Hyman was turned off this game. I think Hyman played a really good game. I think he was turned on. He just wasn't able to put the puck in the net. I think it was an unfortunate situation where he just wasn't able to bury one. He had some really good looks. They're coming. Like, it's coming. His first goal of the season is coming, and I guarantee when he does score, it's probably going to be a hat trick in the first game that he does get a goal. And then after that, watch him put up 35, 40 goals this season. He's definitely not scoring 50. Like, that's probably out of the question right now. Siren Bees asks, any prediction on what Canadian teams make the playoffs? Obviously right now, my big predictions are Vancouver. I do have them winning the Pacific. I'm sorry, Oilers fans. Please don't be mad at me. That was my preseason prediction. I'm going to stick with it. The Calgary Flames right now are playing very well. Are they a playoff team? We'll have to find out. However, the Winnipeg Jets are for sure a playoff team, and the Toronto Maple Leafs should be a playoff team as well. Edmonton Oilers should be a playoff team, but there are no guarantees in this league, right? There are no guarantees. Teams, if it's easier, teams that probably won't make the playoffs or likely won't make the playoffs in Canadian markets. Montreal Canadiens, they are just too injury riddled, and they're just not there yet. They are fully immersed in a rebuild, not quite there. And then another Canadian team that likely will not make the playoffs is probably the Ottawa Senators. They've had a better start to this season. However, goaltending still seems to be kind of an issue even after signing Linus Ullmark. But other than that, the other 5 Canadian teams, they have a good shot of making it. It's tough, right? The NHL is tough to predict. You can't predict anything. There's always teams that make the playoffs that you don't expect. Like I said, I don't expect Calgary to make the playoffs, but if they did, would I be surprised? After the start they've had, no. If you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, yes, absolutely. If someone told me that they could see in the future and they're like, hey, Calgary's going to make the playoffs, I would have been like, yeah, you're lying to me. There's no way. However, Calgary, full credit to them. They've earned this. Winnipeg, full credit to them. They've earned it. And Vancouver, they're starting to find their game as well. But I believe that is it from me. If there's no other questions here, I am going to wrap things up here in overtime here on Game Over Edmonton. I want to thank every single person that tuned in tonight, whether it was on Game Over Edmonton or over on my own channel. Thank you so, so much. It's nice to see the Oilers back in the win column. They are 3-4-1 on the year, almost 500. Their next game is against the Detroit Red Wings on Sunday at 4 p.m. Mountain, I believe. I will very much look forward to that. I will not be hosting the Game Over for that game. I believe it's going to be Avery from Avery Sports Show or Graham. Not quite sure who the host is going to be. Maybe it's both. I will double check. If you're not sure, though, make sure to follow Game Over Network on Twitter or x.com, Instagram. We are on all the social medias. And also, you can find the Game Over Network content, whether it's Edmonton or Montreal, Winnipeg, Ottawa, Vancouver, Toronto. It doesn't matter who you want to watch or listen to. We are on Spotify. We are on Amazon. We are on Apple. Wherever you get your podcasts, make sure to follow us on any platform that is your preferred platform. We are trying to get our name out there and continue to build something special in the hockey space, not gaming. I mean, maybe one day gaming, who knows where Game Over Network is going to go from here. Thanks for the post game, says JP. Hey, you're very, very welcome. Fireball Gaming says, what team will Oilers lose a lot to in the season? Probably Minnesota. Edmonton never usually plays well against the Minnesota Wild, so hopefully they're able to get some wins against Minnesota. All right, thank you all so much for tuning in. Like I said, absolute pleasure being the host tonight, and I can't wait for more live streams in the future. Like I said, even if I'm not the one hosting the Game Overs after the games, there is always somebody hosting a Game Over Edmonton after every single game. If you want to witness more, make sure you like the video, like the live stream, and subscribe to Game Over Edmonton, part of the Game Over Network. We will see you soon, Oil Country. Thank you so much for watching, and let's go Oilers. Biggest thing, though, for me, before I end this one, tell someone that you love them, all right? Fight like a kid. Fight like Ben. Let's go Oilers. I love that we got a huge win. Thank you, everyone, for your comments, your questions, and all the support that you show us here at the Game Over Network. It means the world. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.